Sexual harassment in the judiciary has been thrust in the spotlight at the interviews of the Judicial Service Commission. Commissioners have asked Judge Nkosinathi Chili about the legal instruments at the disposal of legal practitioners when dealing with sexual harassment allegations. Joining us for more on today's interviews, we're joined by SABC News reporter Canny Maphanga. Good afternoon, Canny. So just take us through day 3 of the interviews. How's it been going so far?
Well, good afternoon to you, Mfunda, and to the viewers at home. Well, what I can say, it is a better day for the JSC as they interview for the KZN High Court Division. That is the position of the Deputy Judge President, as well as the 6 vacancies in the actual court. There are 7 candidates that are being interviewed currently. We've seen Mr. Khalil, who had a bit of a tough interview yesterday, return today for another interview here for one of the positions of the judge of the KZN High Court. We understand also that he has since withdrawn from the other courts that he intended to interview for, but we understand that because he has acted in the KZN High Court Division, he has availed himself for this particular interview. You may remember yesterday he had quite a tough interview with the JP of the Gauteng High Court Division, that is Judge President Dustin Nambo, highlighting the very important fact that judges are called to this position. They don't apply. The commission itself took issue with the number of divisions that he had raised his hand for, noting that these divisions are very different and their needs are very different. As I've said earlier, the focus today has been on the KZN High Court Division. Of course, starting with the Deputy Judge President, we expected this morning to have 3 candidates that would have been interviewed for this particular role. However, the 3rd candidate was not interviewed. I'm sure the JSC spokesperson will elaborate further as to what exactly took place for the 3rd candidate who was shortlisted and was on the schedule today, why they didn't appear. But of course, we did see Judge Chili, that is the judge that is presiding over the arms deal case of the former President Jacob Zuma. Then, of course, Judge Nkosinathi, who is a judge there of the KZN High Court. Not many major issues, Mfunda, that are raised about these candidates. I think Judge Chili was asked about his ruling or about turn on the ruling regarding the recusal of the state advocate in the arms deal case, that is Advocate Billy Downer. He was asked about stating that he wouldn't provide written reasons and then later providing them. Of course, he couldn't go into detail about that particular issue because it is an active trial, and of course, the appeal on the recusal of Advocate Billy Downer is still active in the court. So he couldn't go into great detail about that. But other than that, there wasn't a major issue that was discussed. And then, of course, Judge Nkosinathi, I think the only issue that was raised there was the issue of advanced age, which is a factor when they do deliberate on who is the most suitable candidate. And then, of course, the overarching issues of transformation. Of course, you may know that there are transformation targets for the JSC when they make these interviews, but I'm sure when the JSC announcement is made, following these several interviews that we're seeing right now, that they probably will be a candidate that will be recommended for Deputy Judge President of the KZN High Court. They'll be supporting the current Judge President in her leadership role there at the KZN High Court Division. And then, of course, we've seen at least 3 candidates so far be interviewed. And I've stated previously that Mr. Khalil is currently doing his interview for the KZN High Court Division. Of course, that is a division he has acted in as a current senior magistrate, and he will be explaining his experience there. And hopefully, if he is successful today, then he might be one of the candidates that are recommended. And then, of course, the issue that you did discuss of sexual harassment in the judiciary, you may know that there is a policy that is set to be released that will guide the judiciary on sexual harassment. It is triggered by a complaint that is currently before a tribunal regarding a top judge of one of the divisions of the High Courts that has a complaint of sexual harassment against them by a clerk of that particular court. That is still an ongoing matter, but of course it triggered the formation of this all-important policy for the judiciary that will guide sexual harassment in the judiciary and hopefully curb instances of this nature where we are seeing complaints first time ever complaints reach a tribunal on a very important issue in a society such as South Africa that is still plagued with the scourge of gender-based violence and femicide. But for now, the interviews continue with Mr. Khalil there, getting that second opportunity in a court that he actually has acted in, and has the opportunity to convince the JSC that he could possibly be a suitable candidate for the KZN High Court Division.